Hello everybody. It's been just a little while since we've done a garden tour, and there are certainly a lot of things that have changed. It is June 15th and I just wanted to fill you guys all in. I've had a couple people subscribe to my channel, which is crazy cool. Some people I don't know in real life, people I didn't send the link directly to. So shout out to you. We have a homestead here in Kingston. My husband and I, we just kind of dove into gardening really heavily last year. And I would say this is our first full year of gardening. This video is not about getting to know me or anything like that. I just want to show you what's going on in the yard. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. This guy. It was my birthday last week. Turned 30. So crazy. So to celebrate, of course, had to buy myself a birthday pepper. This is a yellow Hungarian wax hot pepper. Of course, it doesn't have any color yet, but very excited about all the blooms. We moved a lot of pots up here on the deck, so things are always changing around. We had to move a lot of our bunny grass just because it was getting eaten by what we think were actual bunnies. Not sure how everybody else feels about that, but we thought it was pretty funny. This we're working on having a privacy screen to provide some shade to my dog while he's on the deck. So we have some flowering annual sweet peas, some more bunny grass, and then we did put some chives in between just to help with some natural pest control, as well as letting the flowers pop up, so we won't be eating those. Mix of things going on here on the deck. It's probably changed since the last tour. Start on the right and kind of work our way over. We have some pink pampas grass growing in that container, some bunny grass. We have this little tree sapling we found in a bush, called him Bruce the Spruce. Our rosemary at the back. We have in the center there, hasn't popped off yet, but I did put some chives in there, a mix of garlic chives and regular chives. Bunny grass at the back, which you can see has a couple tails. Some lemon balm. 2 bits of tangle leaf lettuce that are still providing us with a lot of leaves. Some lumera. In the fabric bag that's just started there, we did plant some ginger. We'll see how that takes off. Extra cucumber seedlings that we just had going. Some maple tests in there. We found some propellers on our yard and hubby wanted to try to plant trees, so why not? We had the space. In this container here, we did a second planting of some beans that we had. Some of them are bush varieties and some of them are pole beans. Our one you're gonna see up ahead, not doing so hot. So I wanted a couple of replacements just because I wasn't too happy with the germination I had on the first ones. Here you probably would you have started? I don't remember. I have photos, just haven't looked back. But for the sake of this video, I don't remember. You may have seen this in videos prior. We have a little dog. He needed a ramp before we put in some stairs there. But with, again, prices of lumber, you know, that's a lot more cost effective right now, especially when we're in the heat of gardening season. We don't want to be spending money on wood and just, you know, safety things like stairs, when we could be spending it on plants. This is something that my husband and I have debated. You can see in one of those buckets it was used for our previous construction tool usage work project. And she's not the cleanest. I'd like to hear people's opinion in the comments below. Would you reuse this bucket, or would you kind of want to start fresh? Would you use these seed? It's going to be a potato. Would you let it flower and reuse it just for seed potatoes next year? Kind of curious what everyone's opinion is on that. We just had them kicking around, an extra one, so we just wanted to plant them to test. Another lumera there. been so great having the yard come in. We have a lot of clover mixed into our yard, so it stays relatively flat, but we have a lot of natural matter. So when we do mow, I always say vacuum. Do you want to vacuum your yard, guys? When we do mow, we tend to collect the clippings in the back there, and then we'll put them into our compost. Sometimes we'll mulch it into the ground, but right now you don't really need it. With all the clover coming in, everything stays relatively flat, I find, this season. Over here, though, we actually moved a lot of the pots that you saw up on the deck. They were previously hanging out in between these tomatoes, but if you know anything about tomatoes, they like to take over. So we moved them right now. We left the marigold in the center, and I think everyone's really, really appreciated the rain we have in the last couple days because everything is popping. Speaking of popping, we have our flower garden going right now. Honestly, a lot of these are probably weeds. Do I really care? Not really. Nice thing about that is you can let things kind of go rogue. You can see what naturally grows in your environment, and the things that you did plant, which was mostly just like wild flower seeds, they can pop out kind of at will. So we have a lot of that going on. A couple dandelions still enjoying their lives. Our ginormous peony on its way out. I usually do trim all of that back just so we can have more space in here for actual flowers. We were gifted these. They're Egyptian walking onions, and they are starting to form their little heads. So exciting. We did try to start mixing in some more edible things in here, likewise to the raspberries that are at the back there. So funny how things differ, eh? One of these things is not like the other. Couldn't tell you why. Maybe that one just got really bullied as a seedling, but for some reason one of them is just not doing so hot this year. Not too worried though. We still have plenty of time. Rocco's enjoying his time. We just got gifted those chairs for my birthday. So excited about them. If you've seen any of my prior videos, you'll know that this was actually a test strawberry, and I think it's passed the test so far. Its friend, not so much. This one, doing great. We're pretty sure we might get like maybe a couple flowers, but anticipating a lot more next year for that one. Compost is always filling up. The great thing about gardening season is you're able to recycle a lot of it back into your garden for next year. Cardboard, paper, animal fur, things we just wanted to pull out. This is what I was kind of saying too about the clippings. We always use them as kind of like a top barrier. Just helps keep things down a little bit more. Looks a little bit better. We will be adding lids to this soon. Rogue planters. And then it kind of gets into the main event. Wow. I hope you guys are as impressed as we are. Let's bring it back over here. If somebody told me this was a potato, I would tell them that they were liars. How incredible is this? I'm sorry, let's just go back. How? How does this make potatoes? I think it's like a secret with how beautiful potatoes are, and people don't want it to get out, or else they're just gonna grow this beautiful bush of bright green foliage with these stunning purple flowers and get a full harvest. Insanity. Why would we tell people this? Let's keep it a secret, just between you and I. Well, my husband knows as well, so he can also be in on it. And you know, like the millions of other people who also plant potatoes. But wow, I could just have bushes of that around my property and I would be happy. Even our tests are very happy. And that one had a little bit of a mishap with a bird there. One thing we did have to do though, as you can see, we have a couple onions that were here at the front. We did have 2 more bunches of them. They got a little bit shaded out, so we had to transplant them. So you'll see onions a little bit scattered everywhere. Let's zigzag today. I feel like zigzagging. Let's go down here. My friend mentioned that it felt like Jurassic Park when you went into the dill, and I totally feel it. My brother also said it kind of looked like bamboo. Might have been my husband. I don't know. It was a man in my life who means a lot to me. Let's just put it that way. So crazy. One thing I did learn about them, and we have a visitor. Hello. This is a black eastern swallowtail. We've been doing a lot of research about bugs that are on our property and things that we can get. And of course, if you know anything about gardening, you're gonna know that this is dill. And dill, oh, hello. There you are. I've never seen you before. I'll have to research who you are. Hopefully you're a friend. Hello, hoverfly. Hello, bugs. They're so fun. Anyway, back to the cooler bug over here. Apparently he is a butterfly that is, you know, not as populated as other butterflies. And they start out, I can't actually even see any right now, which might be a good thing. They start out as these little yellow eggs and they grow into that beautiful butterfly, which then grows into, caterpillar, which then grows into a beautiful butterfly. So I'm pretty excited about that and our dilly jungle. In this section here, we kind of have a mix of things. Everything is going pretty strong, especially these leeks. They're nice and thick now. Carrots, mini peppers, onion. These guys, not so hot. This guy is definitely, you know what? Don't tell my husband. I think he's ready to go. I don't think we're gonna get anything from this. He's shading out most of that. And honestly, we have that. This is the time where we need chickens or pigs or something. Oh well, at least it feeds us. Does anybody else just have things and they get mad at them because they're not doing what they want? It's kind of how I feel about brassicas. My fault. Didn't plant anything early enough. Didn't give it proper light. Tried to recover everything, but not doing so hot. Speaking of not doing so hot, this Broad Windsor. Yeah, I think I moved it over here because I wanted to put it over there. I just didn't have the heart last night. I can't do it twice. Not twice. You can live another day. This bed here is coming along. It's so crazy to me that this was the first one that we planted. As you can see, there's a lot more space, a lot more room. We've had over, I would say, at least 10 different meals with things that we harvested out of this bed. Carrots, beets, radish, and turnips. The ones that you do see in the center are our second sowing of radish. We want to leave those ones and let them go to seed, and the front ones are a white variety. Haven't had those before, but we're seeing how they hold up in the heat because sometimes radishes are a little bit unpredictable. It's getting kind of late. It's about 5 o'clock here. Everyone is getting so bushy. Look at these bushy boys. Oh, hello. Did I I just see a flower? I did. Super exciting. This is our pepper patch. Can't remember if in the last video we had the volunteer tomatoes, but we decided to get rid of those. This was our, I would say, most neglected bed, but she's making a recovery. Very exciting. Honestly, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, oh wow. Other times I look at it and I'm like, you are a disease infestation waiting to happen. If you know anything about cucumbers or anything that's like a gourd or a squash, they are very, very prone to getting diseases. But right now our water to sun to coolness ratio is pretty good, so everybody is thriving, which is why we put in these big stakes, because we have some guys already, you know, they want to move out. So we'd rather give them more expanded living than have them all over the walkway. This side is a little bit more manageable, at least this side portion. So many fruits this year so far. This is crazy. I feel so lucky every time we walk through. This bed here, as I mentioned kind of before, there was going to be a lot of onions that were kind of scattered throughout. We did space out the onions to try to allow for bigger bulb growth. Carrots are coming in great in the center there. I did also have a friend reach out and ask about tomatoes. So we do have some brandywine coming in. I'm not sure really what happened there, to be honest. If that's bird gunk or if that's a fungus, but we're gonna have to look that up. We got these at a local greenhouse, so I feel that's why they're a little bit further along. Could just also be the variety. I don't know much about these ones. Their leaves are very cool though. This bed, wow. There's so much to say about this bed. First of all, way too full. We haven't done any pruning, and the tomato, zucchini, other tomato, could definitely use it. But, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Look, we have a zook. So exciting. We have been pulling off the flowers because we realized they don't bloom a second time. So we've been adding them into our compost. We did look up a couple of recipes and you can actually eat them. It's a completely edible plant in the flower and the fruit regard. And then a lot of people like stuff them and deep fry them, which is totally our thing. We just wanted the plants to have a fighting chance and we wanted to see the process before we like played around with anything. That was really important to us. A lot of testing this year, figure out what we like. Figure out different pests, like all the little flea beetle bites. I mean, anything with the name flea, learning, not liking them. Definitely not liking them. Not meaning to skip over anything. I just don't want to repeat a lot of what we have here. Some of it is pretty recognizable. Like if you don't know what that patch is, do you even enjoy anything healthy? Just kidding. This is a beautiful patch of lettuce. I actually love coming in here and just looking at all the leaves. Hans combined them and I think it looks glorious. Definitely want to do this next year because it makes me really happy. Like look at that. That could be a background on your phone. Just like screenshot that and you're good to go. actually don't, because I've been taking photos and I might, you know, do downloads for them. Some of them are really pretty. Looky, looky, looky. What's in here? Ah, a second one. This one is a little bit different shaped, so it'll be interesting to see if that grows out straight or how she goes. Still also has this flower on the top because it wasn't removed and on the ground. Actually, some things look good from afar, but when you look up close, you can see what you actually do need to address. We haven't been doing any kind of fertilizing. We haven't been pruning off any bad leaves. So some of the neglect is definitely on our part, but that's part of the learning process that we are doing this year, is learning how long we can leave things, what we need to address right away, what takes care of itself, what naturally takes care of itself. Yeah, a lot of things this year. Speaking of, this might look a little ridiculous to some people, but if you only knew, I had another one right there. You can kind of see the indent. It got stolen. It totally got stolen. We actually found the seed, and I don't know if the seed is still kicking around, but I had another one of these going and it got stolen. So we just set up this to kind of protect that one. We're hoping it's going to be big enough that it won't get stolen. The other one was a lot smaller. It was a giant pumpkin, but it was just started at a different stage. And well, to be honest, this one is getting so bullied. So I would say it's rabbits. I would definitely say it's rabbits. Low beds, big open field, tons of space for them to be in. Usually we prefer something a little bit higher, but you know how she go with the lumber. But that's okay. That's just a flower. Rather than eat that, eat that, eat that, eat that, than that. But here we are. I kind of skipped over one, to be honest. Hopefully you guys noticed that. But let's get back on track. Maybe I'll zigzag just back and forth so we can cover the rest of this, because it is getting to be kind of a long video and it's almost dinner time. We're having lasagna. So I'm really excited about that. Speaking earlier of things that I wasn't excited about, process on my beans. You might be thinking those look great. Well, the rest was empty. Wasn't before, just didn't work. It was closer to what you see over in this red section. Didn't have the proper drainage, didn't start them at the proper time. Pests got them. Here we are. Same kind of with these ones. I still think the same. These ones in the fabric containers are a bush variety, where the ones by the trough are a pole variety. You may have guessed that with the trellis, but I'm not very happy with how these kind of worked. I am happy though with how the peas worked. I did pull out a few. Oh my goodness, guys. Here, let me come over here. Look. Again, if people only knew how beautiful these were, they would grow more of their own food. How cool is that? The folks that are in between too, they're doing pretty well. I think they like the shade. And what is giving them all that shade? Look at it! This is a broad Windsor. There's definitely some pest pressure. You can kind of see as we hover over. But overall, we're seeing how we go. This bed has changed a lot. This one is going insane. Some of you may recognize these. At the end, they probably look very similar to the pumpkin, and they are because they're part of the similar family. They are part of the squash family, and they are acorn squash. I personally love them. They're my favorite squash, so on either end, we did put those with some leftover kale. Just had them in planters and wanted to transplant them. And in this guarded section, our corn. You know I'm excited about this because it's actually glass gem corn, not just the sweet corn variety. And sunflowers, they're so tall. I haven't staked or done anything to them yet. I'm gonna see how everybody produces and then see kind of what we need. But we'll probably leave this up all year because the corn and everything might need a little bit more protection. So we're definitely gonna keep a little bit more structure around them. The last two bed guys. Thanks for sticking around if you've watched all of this. It honestly means so much, all the people who do watch the entire video. I just started recording these for fun and for me, and then, you know, I decided this year I was gonna share. I think it's really important to share and to teach. Back to this. Tomatoes. A forest of tomatoes. We definitely need to do some TLC on this bed. Probably do that while we're heating up dinner. Be nice to give the basil some room. The bunny grass is probably enjoying their shade and production. But we want to give these guys, they should get most of the space. Because it does look like we are getting quite a few blossoms. And while they don't always produce fruit right away, it is always good to have everything kind of set up so you're not disturbing them during their growing season. And the final bed of the evening before I let you guys all go. Gourd and Pumpkin City with a bunch of flowers. One I am most curious about. Yeah, you spied it. That ginormous guy in the middle. If you remember the size of our giant pumpkin, you will probably understand why I'm a little concerned for him. But who knows? He could just be really cool and really strong. We won't judge a book, or rather a sprout, by its cover. We'll have to wait till it grows. One more thing, just one more thing. I love all the TikToks that are going around and they have the funny voices and they're like, some people ask me, is it too much? And I say, no, it will never be enough. And every time I come over here, that's what I'm reminded of. Because gooseberries, if you have one this year, you know, they are bumping. Anyway, guys, time to cook supper. Time to relax. Someone is clearly already done for the day. It's time to enjoy everything here. Because Hans is done work soon. We'll be fed soon. It's a beautiful day. Thanks for joining. See you later.